Welcome to Dr. Katina Talks, the podcast where we explore the journey to a more fulfilling, balanced, and meaningful life. I'm your host, Dr. Katina, and today I want to talk about fullness, not the kind we show the world, but the kind we live with privately, the kind that can look complete on the outside while quietly revealing what is missing on the inside. Let's dive in. A few years ago, my husband and I purchased a second-floor villa in what is essentially a retirement community in Southern Delaware. When you walk through the door, you entered a 2-story open space, high white walls, tall windows, light that felt intentional. Even before we furnished it, the room felt full. It wasn't crowded, it wasn't busy, it was just settled. We decided to bring in a craftsman, and for 7 straight days, he worked carefully, installing trim work and box framing throughout the entire space. Every corner was deliberate, every line intentional, and when he finished, the house looked like it belonged in a grand hotel from the early 1900s. It had clean lines, balanced proportions, and quiet beauty. And when the work was done, we stood back and we just looked. Family came over. Friends stopped by. Neighbors admired it. People lingered. They stared. They took it all in. And almost everyone assumed the next step would be filling the walls with paintings and mirrors and photographs, anything to make a statement. But guess what? We didn't add anything. The walls and trim were painted a soft white satin, and that was it. The walls stayed open. They were untouched. The trim carried the elegance all on its own. The house did not need more to feel complete. The simplicity, it was enough. That home taught me something I had not yet learned anywhere else. And that is, space does not have to be justified. Silence, it doesn't have to be filled. And absence, it does not mean that something is missing. That villa changed how I see my own life, how I hold my own energy, how I make decisions, how I grieve, how I rebuild, and how I let go. We're conditioned to decorate every wall we encounter, to prove our worth through fullness, to stay busy so we do not have to listen, to fill silence so we are not left alone with ourselves. We collect commitments, we over-explain, we overschedule, because for some, empty space makes us uneasy. But guess what? Empty space is not a threat. It is possibility, protection, and clarity. And here is the truth. What is unfilled can still be sacred. And those things that are open can feel complete. And quiet can be a space for growth without words. This episode is an invitation to honor that kind of space in your own life. So, as usual, I have a few reflections I want you to sit with. 1. Not everything earns a place. So when something leaves your life, a relationship, a role, a routine, the instinct is often to replace it immediately with another obligation, another distraction, another way to stay occupied. But let me appeal to you to pause before you do that. And let the openness exist without urgency. Because empty space is not evidence of lack. It is often evidence that something that did not belong has finally exited. And that matters, so honor it. 2. Stillness is not a gap to fix. For many, quiet feels uncomfortable because it's unfamiliar. But stillness creates room for clarity, integration, and most of all, for rest, because it allows your nervous system to settle It allows your thoughts to organize. It allows you to hear what has been buried under noise. So, let the openings in your life breathe, and let silence say what you have been too busy to hear. 3. Subtraction is as powerful as addition. There is actually wisdom in restraint. Believe it or not, there is wisdom in knowing when to remove rather than add. Remember that trim work in our home? It was beautiful because it did not compete with anything else. Nothing distracted from it. And the same is true in life. When something is taken away, resist the reflex to replace it immediately. Emptiness is also important because it represents discernment, maturity, and most of all, freedom. 4. Presence speaks louder when there is less. If 3 pumps of perfume feel necessary, 2 were already too much. The same is true for your voice, your presence, and your role. Every wall does not need a picture. Every year does not need another project. And every opportunity does not deserve your eyes. Simplicity speaks, and restraint reveals confidence. And finally, leave room for what is truly worthy. A crowded life leaves no space for alignment. When every moment is booked and every emotional corner is occupied, there's nowhere for you to safely land. Leave space for what is worthy of your time, your spirit, and your peace. Some spaces will remain open for a season, and some will remain open always, because peace might live there, because clarity might also live there, or simply because nothing else needs to occupy that territory again. So, as we close, I want you to look at your life the way I looked at those walls. I want you to notice the places where you rush to fill space because openness makes you uncomfortable. Step back. Let the quiet remain. Let the blank space exist. You do not need to fill everything you clear. Sometimes the empty space is the art. Until next time, take good care of yourself, and don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and share this podcast with someone else who might need it. Bye for now.